Credit plays an important role in our lives. Without it, life can be hard. You might even miss money saving opportunities. For example, few can afford to buy a home or a car with cash. Most take out a loan to do that. Some employers run credit checks.
You will be allowed to get the best and lowest interest rates on loans and credit cards when you are considered credit-worthy or likely to pay back borrowed money on time every month. If you are less credit-worthy or less likely to pay back borrowed money on time every month, you will have worse interest rates that cost more money. Why do I need credit? People usually use their good credit to buy large expensive items like a car or appliance, pay for college or higher education, buy a house, or purchase items online. Having credit is important for several other reasons. Employers, landlords, utilities, and insurance companies may want to look at your credit as well. Landlords and utility companies need to know if you will pay your bills on time. Your credit report shows whether or not you do that. Insurance companies may view your credit to help see if you will file a claim. Sounds odd? Car insurance companies find that people who manage their money well tend to get in fewer accidents and take better care of their health and home. Insurance companies view your credit information to decide if they will insure you and if you are able to pay your monthly charge. Who can view my credit report without my permission? Any company where you've applied for credit can look at your credit without your permission. All employers, both current and future, need your written permission before they can look at your credit report. Other organizations that may look at your credit report without your permission include landlords, insurance companies, credit card companies with which you have an existing account, government agencies, agencies considering an application for a government license, and child support enforcement agencies. Get and read your credit report every year. Your credit report is a snapshot on how you manage your money, if you pay your bills on time, and the amount of your debt, if you have any. It has many different types of information. What kind of information is on my credit report? Your credit report has identifying information like your name, address, date of birth, and social security number. It also has your credit information, which includes all of the financial groups that have approved you for credit and for how much. It tells whether you have paid back borrowed money on time every month. Your credit report shows public record information. This includes charge-offs or debts that are considered unlikely to be paid because the borrower has not made payments over a period of time. It also includes foreclosures or the taking possession of a house or property when the borrower does not make their mortgage payments. Another public record that can be included on a credit report is bankruptcies, or being unable to repay remaining debts. Your credit report will also include inquiries, or a list of financial groups that have asked to see your credit report to decide whether or not to approve you for credit. It is important to check your credit report on a regular basis. There are 3 reasons that reading your credit report should be an annual to-do. Look for mistakes, such as late payments on a collection notice that could negatively affect your credit. Look for credit activity you didn't authorize, which could be a sign of identity theft. Stay informed of the type of information that creditors can view about you. How to correct credit report errors. If there are mistakes on your credit report, you have the right to have them corrected at no charge to you. The credit report itself will give you information on how to correct any mistakes. Specific instructions on how to do that may be given under the section titled How to File a Dispute, located at the end of your credit report. You will have to provide proof, such as a copy of a canceled check, as proof of payment that supports your request to fix a mistake. If a credit reporting agency will not correct information that you think is a mistake, begin another dispute. If the credit card company still does not correct the mistake, you have the right to give a written explanation of the mistake into your credit report. If you notice credit activity on your credit report that you know you didn't authorize, your identity may have been compromised. You can find more information on identity protection in the following module. How to order your credit report. In order to review your credit report, you need to request to see it from a trusted source. You are allowed to get a free credit report once every 12 months. To find resources on how to view your credit report, you can view the Ordering Your Credit Report handout. What does my credit score mean? Your credit score is a 3-digit number that sums up all the information on your credit report into one tidy number. It follows you around for your entire life, and its value can move up and down depending on what's happening in your financial life. How do I improve my credit score? The single most important thing you can do to improve your score is to pay your bills on time every month. Organizing your paperwork can help you improve your credit score. Keeping your bills organized in a to-pay folder and due dates highlighted or marked on your calendar can help you make payments on time. Manage debt. Many costs related to your child's care can add up and add stress to your finances. You may also have less money if one parent had to cut back on hours or give up a job to care for your child. It might be that your good credit is keeping you going while you figure out how to manage all of your expenses. Sometimes it might seem like it would be helpful to delay paying bills. Don't delay in paying. Always pay something. If you are having trouble paying your bills, pick up the phone and call the company or person to whom you owe money. The credit card company, the utility company, the doctor's office, your landlord, and discuss a realistic payment plan. Then stick to the payment plan. If at any time you fear that you can't, call your creditor immediately and be prepared to offer a solution. Once you have made a payment, call the lender to make sure your payment was received and paid to your account. If it wasn't, wait a couple of days and call again. If you think your check got lost in the mail, you will have to call your bank to stop payment on it and send your lender a new check. Most banks charge a stop payment fee. If you made your payment online, you'll get immediate confirmation of your payment. Make a note of the confirmation number in case you need to reference it. You can stay organized and make notes of confirmation numbers on paper copies of the bill or inside your file. Questions to ask your creditor if you've missed your payment. If you miss a payment, you should call and speak with your creditor. Before you call, try to determine if you've been charged a late fee, your interest rate got higher, or your payment terms, including fees and due date, have changed. It's best to begin your phone conversation admitting that you missed a payment, and then propose your payment plan. Be sure to ask these questions before you end the conversation. Can you waive the late fees? Can you make one payment that will cover 2 months, the month you are late on and the current month? What else will I be charged for on the account of a late payment? Can you remove the charge? If your interest rate went up, can you restore it to the previous level? Your creditor will be more willing to help you with your requests if you have a history of routinely paying your bills on time every month. However, even if you've made late payments or have missed payments, it is still worth trying to work out different terms, such as interest rates, amount due, due date, and fees. If the creditor agrees to new terms, ask for the changes in writing. You'll want to check your next statement to make sure your creditor has kept the new agreement. Avoid these common mistakes that can delay your payment. There are some common mistakes you can avoid to make sure that your payment is made on time. Avoid making these mistakes. Mailing the payment to the wrong address. Making an online payment to the wrong account. Writing the wrong account number on your check. Writing a check that is returned or bounced because there's not enough money in your checking account to cover it. To rebuild your payment history with each creditor you contact, honor each rearranged term, such as due date and payment amount, and make future payments on time.
All right, so Sarah, we're gonna pick on you tonight. Right when you took a bite. Do you have any questions up front that you want me to talk through?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Mom's in the room now.
There we go.
Can you talk about adjustable rate interest rates and fixed interest rates?
Sure.
And how do you get out of an adjustable interest rate?
All right. Anything else?
I think that's the biggie. Can you think of anything else? So far, my credit is really good.
Yeah.
What we're trying to balance is mortgage and a HELOC loan. And like trying to make sure that those stay current. But as far as I can tell, my credit has not been affected. So, but
Yes.
the interest rate keeps going up.
Yeah, as for, prior till the last 6 months, it didn't matter on a HELOC, right? Because the rate was so low. And then as they've raised rates, it's affected those quite a bit. So that's really the difference. I mean, a fixed rate, if you get a mortgage per se, and it's a 30-year mortgage, and I'm just making up numbers, you got a 3% rate, it's going to be 3% for that time. HELOC, because it adjusts, and it adjusts based off of, I'll just say interest rates, because that's the easiest. As they go up, that HELOC, the rate that you're going to pay back, goes up with it. So I carry one just for emergencies or things like that. And like right now I have a zero balance, but it went from, I think it was 1.5 when I first got it 5-6 years ago, to my last statement showing that the rate right now is over 4.5%. That's a big difference. So have you been paying, let me ask you this, were you paying more on your mortgage at all? Like if your mortgage was $600, were you paying $700 or $800?
I was not.
Okay.
No, we've been just meeting the bare minimum right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, what you might want to do is just call the bank and say, hey, listen, is there any way that I can roll this HELOC into a fixed rate? And see if you haven't done that yet.
So would you have to completely refinance in order to like change it to a fixed rate?
Most cases, but sometimes since you have the mortgage with whoever your lender is and you're trying to work out something, they won't hit you with refinancing fees again and stuff like that. So it's worth the phone call. I mean, really, if you go through everything that the video just went over, is most of it was, hey, just communicate with these lenders, because they unfortunately they know the difference with somebody like yourself going, hey, I'm really trying to work this out, compared to somebody who's just trying not to pay their bills.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would tell you to do. And if you run into any trouble with communicating with whoever the lender is, I don't care to call with you, just to have somebody there that can talk on your behalf, and at least I can tell them what I do and go, hey, let's figure out a way to see if we can help you. Because we're getting an environment right now, a little bit side note, AT&T just came out with their earnings. That was Friday. And they actually said they're going to have $1 billion write down, which hurt their stock. But the reason they did is they said, we're having people right now just not even pay their bills. So it's kind of starting to spread throughout. You know, if somebody is unwilling to pay their cell phone bill, which in America, I don't know how you live without one. You know, there's some things rippling down as interest rates have obviously crept up very quickly. So yeah, that's my best advice. Call them, see what the information they give you is. You're more than welcome to send that to me, and we can talk through it further as well. All right. So when we're talking credit, I mean, it's pretty easy. Why do we use it? Is bigger purchases, whether it be school loans, whether it be buying a home, car, the list goes on and on. So, you know, the ones we don't use them for, and I'm kind of going into the debt side of it that we're going to try to do tonight too. If not, that's okay. But don't use credit cards for medical expenses. And sometimes you're like, well, what do we do? Here's my point. I don't care if your bill is $30,000 and you got to pay it. Hospitals and medical professionals just want to know you'll pay something monthly. So whether it's you or whether it's somebody in your family, if they get in a tough situation, you know, at least talk to them and go, hey, I'm willing to pay this, but that's all I can do a month. And for their accounting purposes, all they need to show to, you know, the CEO obviously has to report to stockholders, basically say, hey, we have people that are paying off their debt, not all at one time. So I think that's a big key to understand. My sister got hit. Oh, it was 99 by a drunk driver, and had to have a total hip replacement and had basically got her whole left side pretty much put back together. Long story short, this is back then. Well, she ended up having over 100,000 in medical debt, and the hospital actually waived a good portion of that based off of my dad getting involved and knowing a few people to help get that done. But she also had some medical debt that was left, and she just paid it off basically over the rest of her life so far, and that was good enough. So we lived it firsthand with her getting a huge bill of 100 grand basically, and trying to figure out how to do that. So if you communicate with these institutions, they will at least try to work with you and be somewhat as reasonable as they're going to be. Any questions on that, Sarah? Okay. All right. So the other thing I wanted to take off what we just looked at there is make sure you're looking at your credit report annually. It's not something that we all sit at home every night going, oh, I wonder what that looks like, but it is a big deal. There should be a form in your book that says ordering your credit report, and it actually lists the different institutions you can order that from. So just kind of take a look at that. And if you haven't looked at it in a while, there it is. Make sure you do that. And then the annual credit report, that's the one I use just because it's an official site. And as long as you haven't ordered it within the previous 12 months, it's free and pretty easy to get that. And I don't like giving a lot of people my social security number, stuff like that, but because it is a site that's protected the way it is, I have no problem doing that.
So does that give you a different, because I've looked at my credit score,
Mhm.
but I haven't ever ordered a credit report. How are those two different?
So to show you, really, I'll say for the past 10 years, it goes quite a bit back. It'll show you every debt that you've had, every credit transaction, thing like that. So if you bought a car, house, even if you had credit cards, it'll show you that either those were completely paid off or what your current debt on those are. And what I like about it too is it'll show you if you haven't used a credit card in a long time, and it'll show there, say, hey, there's been zero balance since 2019. That reminds me at times to go, oh yeah, I'm gonna go close that out because I don't use it anymore. So it's a very good way. Or if somebody stole your identity and somehow was able to start using, that identity to purchase stuff or get credit cards, you'll be able to tell real quick that, oh, those aren't my debts. And you can basically dispute those and get those taken off.
One more question.
Yeah.
If you are a joint card holder with someone else, but you no longer use that card anymore, they have that card. And like if me and my husband had a card together, but I locked his card and it was in my name, like mainly, is that the same as like taking him off of that account? Where does that?
No, and that's where kind of knowing your situation, if you have a divorce decree, you can do that. Okay. If not, right now, you kind of just make sure that credit card stays locked, because until there's an actual separation, the credit card company is going to see that as a joint card still. Or if he's willing to sign off and say, hey, I'm done with that, he can remove himself from that account. I just don't know what your relationship is right now. So,
Yeah. And vice versa, if I needed to be taken off ones that he's using, I would need to sign that so they couldn't come after me.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, until a separation, you got to understand, and I'm not promoting divorce, I'm just telling you the facts. A separation is not deemed that you're your own entity and so is he, right? Because there's still legal marriage. So that's where you got to be real careful to, you really got to kind of manage what he's doing during this time, because it could come back and bite you if you're not careful. Did you hear me on that? Just making sure. Okay. I'm seeing there, I don't think there's much more. The other thing I was going to say, make sure you're paying whatever you can afford to pay monthly. That's a big deal with helping your credit report. If you do, like you said, Sarah, you've got good credit, really wrap your arms around that and protect it. Because that's, once it gets head the other direction, it's a lot of hard work to get it turned around. And then not necessarily for today, but like my 16-year-old, we just went out and got him a credit card with I'm talking like a lot of stipulations. So it's managed, and everything comes through me, but I was able to get it in his name in a roundabout way. It's almost like a junior credit card attached to mine. But with that said, the only reason I did it is to help him start building credit history. So he's only allowed to use it for gas, which is fine. And I know what he's doing, but basically his credit history is showing that he's starting to build some type of little history for himself. So that's that's where, and then by the time they're 18, they can get a full-fledged credit card and be able to do that a little bit more aggressively. But it's even important for us to think through that, because unfortunately, whether we believe in it or not, we live in a world that rotates around, it revolves around credit. So a credit score, a good credit score, is a big deal. All right, Tammy, do you want to play that? I think, because sadly, I'm not trying to rush. There's just, we kind of hit over credit the other day. If you want to do the debt video, I'll go ahead and cover both tonight, as long as, Sarah, is that okay with you? Or are you pressed with time? Probably take about another 10 minutes here. Okay.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Debt. If you feel completely over your head with bills you cannot possibly pay, there are reputable resources available to help. Be careful who you work with. Many shady businesses promising to relieve you of your debt operate under the guise of a nonprofit. Be assured they have found a way to legally make a profit off of your difficult situation. What are some things I can do on my own to reduce debt? Knowing how much you owe and to whom will help you get organized and focused on what you need to do to reduce your debt. In addition to paying your bills on time every month, and if necessary, discussing new terms with your creditors, there are several other things you can do. You can start with creating a debt reduction plan. You want to be able to achieve small victories as you work to reduce your debt. One strategy for reducing your debt is to pay off your smallest debt first. In order to create a debt reduction plan, you should first get the big picture of your debt. List all your debt on the debt reduction plan handout that you can download included in this training module. Make note of low balances or balances with high interest rates or APR. Decide which balance makes the most sense to pay off first. Then begin paying as much as you can to pay off that balance. Again, look for victories. Select a debt that you think you can pay off in a short amount of time, then move on to pay off another one. Tips for making the most of your debt reduction plan. After you have created your debt reduction plan, you can make the most of your plan by doing the following. If you completed the Spending Leaks handout in the Spending Leaks and Smart Goals module, look to see what items you can do without. Small expenses add up over time. If you completed your expenses handout in the spending module, look to see which ones you can do without. What lower cost alternatives might be available? Using your credit card is a quick fix when cash is tight, but an expensive one. Try to avoid using your credit card except for emergencies, only events that affect life's basic needs. Discuss realistic payment plans with the companies or persons to whom you owe money. Places like hospitals, doctor's office, or the landlord. Consider applying for and using a low-rate, low-cost credit card. Stay on top of due dates for all of your bills and any collection notices. Pay something on each bill. Again, stay in touch with your creditors and try to work out a realistic payment plan instead of skipping a payment. About bankruptcy, foreclosure, and repossession. If you are suffering severe financial stress, you may feel like you need to take extreme measures as a way to relieve the increasing stress. Each measure discussed in this section, bankruptcy, foreclosure, and repossession, might be avoided if you reach out for some help and make a plan. In some cases, they can't be avoided. Bankruptcy. Health-related bankruptcy is on the increase for all Americans, especially for families of children with special needs. Bills are increasing, and the time that it takes to keep up with them can become a challenge when also caring for your child. When you do finally open the bills and start adding things up, you might find that you're in financial trouble. What should I do if I think I'm in serious financial trouble? There are 4 steps you can take if you think you are in serious financial trouble. First, you might find some relief through current federal laws that address patient protection. Second, don't turn medical debt into credit card debt. Credit card debt is one of the most expensive debts of all, with high interest rates and recurring fees on unpaid balances. As a general rule, do not use your credit cards to pay your medical bills. Third, review your debt reduction plan found in this module. You might get ideas on how to improve your finances. Fourth, contact the National Foundation for Credit Counseling and explain your situation. Someone may be able to offer a debt solution that works for you. If none of those provide a workable solution, contact a bankruptcy lawyer for additional advice. Filing for bankruptcy. Filing for bankruptcy should always be the last possible option. It is a very serious credit decision. Bankruptcy is the most harmful thing you can do to your credit. It can stay on your credit report for 7 to 10 years. During that time, you might be able to get a loan or credit card, but you will pay high rates of interest and high fees. There are 2 types of bankruptcy, Chapter 13 and Chapter 7. For each one, you must pay a fee to file for bankruptcy and any fees charged by your lawyer. Before considering whether or not to file, ask yourself the question, what do I need to do differently so I don't get in the same financial trouble again? Chapter 13. Chapter 13 bankruptcy is usually a debt repayment plan that you discuss with your creditors. You may be able to work it out and have some of your debt reduced. The payment plan stays in effect over a period of 3 to 5 years. Chapter 13 bankruptcy stays on your credit report for 7 years from the date you make your final payment of the negotiated plan. You can consider filing for Chapter 13 bankruptcy when you think you can pay off your debt in 3 to 5 years. Chapter 7. Filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy means that all of your debts will be erased and you can start your credit life over. This type of bankruptcy stays on your credit report for 10 years from the date of filing. You should only consider filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy if you think you can't pay off your debt in 3 to 5 years, even if the amount could be reduced. Foreclosure. Failure to pay a mortgage payment, called a fault or delinquency, occurs when a mortgage payment is 30 days past due. While each lender handles this situation differently, a foreclosure can occur when a mortgage payment is about 90 days past due. At that time, the bank that approved the mortgage loan can give a notice of sale. This means your lender can legally sell your home through a public auction. On the date of the auction, you will be required to move out of your home. Information related to a foreclosure can stay on your credit report for 7 years. What should I do if I can't pay my mortgage? If you're unable to pay your mortgage or have missed mortgage payments, take action immediately. As tempting as it might be, do not wait. The 4 most important things to do are: call your lender immediately and explain your situation. Because foreclosures are expensive for banks, they may be more likely to look for alternatives to foreclosure. Be prepared to discuss a payment plan. Ultimately, you'll want to work one out that is acceptable for both you and your lender. Ask what fees or charges might be waived. Find a counselor from Housing and Urban Development or HUD for support and suggestions on how to keep your house. Contact HUD to learn about programs that provide eligible homeowners opportunities to modify their mortgages to make them more affordable. Stay in touch with your lender as you implement your payment plan to get back on track with your finances. Avoid foreclosure prevention companies. Like credit repair and debt relief companies, their aim is to profit off of your difficult situation, not to help you keep your home and protect your credit. Repossession. If you miss payments on your car loan, your lender can legally take the car from you or repossess it. The lender really owns your car until you pay off the loan in full. If you've missed a car loan payment or think you're about to miss one, take the same types of actions previously described for missing credit card or mortgage payments. Call your lender immediately, explain your situation, discuss a payment plan, and ask what fees or charges might be waived. Using many of the strategies suggested in the previous training modules may help you avoid taking drastic measures such as bankruptcy, foreclosure, and repossession.
Thank you, Tammy. Sarah, do you have any questions?
I think so. So if you have, first of all, if you've already filed, this is not for me. If you've
Right.
already filed for a Chapter 13 bankruptcy and it has been dismissed, are you legally allowed to refile immediately? You might
That's
not.
not my specialty, but
Yeah,
because I know people have multiple times. I mean, heck, Dave Ramsey's filed for bankruptcy 3 or 4 times. And of course, Trump was what, 5 or 6 in his lifetime. So anyway, my point in saying that is you can do multiple times. I don't know what the time frame is from going from either a chapter 13 to a chapter 13, or if it has to go from 13 to 7. I don't really know that, to be
Yeah.
real honest.
Yeah, because it probably would. My assumption is that it's going to probably go to Chapter 7. But yeah, that's kind of the tricky situation that we have right now. Of he's filed, but and it was dismissed because he didn't submit a payment plan at all.
Okay.
And didn't appear. And then said, well, I'm gonna go ahead and refile. But that would make it tricky for him to quit claim the house and the van over to me and all of that. Because I would still technically be in connection with him even though we're separated.
Right.
So yeah, so it's just a lot of layers of muck to wade through. But
Yeah, if he did that though with 13, what you described, and made no attempt to do anything, the only option he's got left is chapter 7.
Chapter 7, yeah. So if I keep things current on the house and the van, then they technically couldn't come for it. Or
No,
they could.
they should not come for it at all, due to the fact that you're doing what you told the creditors you would do, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to pay my bills. So as long as you're able to prove that you're paying your bills and doing your part, there'll come a time where he's got to pay for his own sins. And, those lenders will go, okay, it's time to pony up.
Yeah.
The area where it gets you more so though is with credit cards, because if there's nobody left to pay that, because you're going, hey, that wasn't my debt, I can't afford to pay it back.
Mhm.
That's where, with you still being in their eyes still legally married, they're going to go, hey, have you filed for separation?
Yeah.
Legal separation. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets complicated. It's one of those, if you prove that you're doing your part, a lot of times they will, side in your favor. But, when somebody's acting like a moron, I don't know who he is. I'm just saying
Yeah.
his behavior is not good. They will finally go, hey, we can't expect Sarah to be on the hook for everything. So
Yeah.
just keep trying to separate everything you can. And if you can get him to, go ahead and single you out and let you have your own credit card and he can go the path he wants to go,
Mhm.
that'll be the best way to protect yourself.
Okay. Yeah, as far as I can tell, when we separated, all of my credit cards that were in my name were paid off. So the only cards that he has access to are the ones where he's the primary card holder. And then I locked him out of all the ones that he was not the primary person on.
Yeah.
So far I haven't heard, nobody's like called me about those. So let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. The one takeaway I had that a lot of people don't realize is in chapter 13, if you'll look at that,
Hmm.
the one thing people are like, oh, I'll just pay it off and it won't affect me. It's a 3 to 5 year window. But a very key point, it says, chapter 13 stays on your credit report for 7 years from the date you make your final payment of the negotiated plan. So
Oh,
it's not 3 to 5, it's 3 to 5 plus 7.
yeah.
So a lot of people go down that path and think, oh, good, I can just get back to normal life after 5 years. Well, it's
Yeah.
still showing up on your credit report, which obviously dings you when you're trying to go get a loan or whatever. So,
Yeah.
just keep that in mind, not necessarily for yourself, but other people that you may hear go, well, I just got to do this. And sometimes that is what you have to do, but it
Mhm.
does stick around for a long time. And a lot of people that look at that will go, I'll just do chapter 7 because it's a 10-year definite, which is true. But again, both of them are, you want it to be your last resort,
Mhm.
if possible.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And I will tell you, and I know because I was sitting here looking through these notes as well, and I'm not going to reread this to you, but they really did a good job of giving some options, the 4 steps you can take before, when you do find yourself in some tough financial trouble. Also, steps to take before looking at bankruptcy, so on and so forth. But the one I had is before, especially mortgages, okay, is it continue on to tell you, just communicate. So call your mortgage and just say, hey, listen, I've got both. I've got a fixed, I got a HELOC. I need a little help figuring out how to make this better for HELOC. I do think HELOCs are going to go down, but they're going to go up a little bit more before they go back down. So this week is when the Fed meets, and I think they'll do another 75 basis points, which is almost another percent. And
Yeah.
that'll hit probably 20 days from when they do it. So it'll be close to your
Yeah.
next statement. But I do think based off of the economy, that's all we're going to see because they just can't keep doing it within a recession. I mean, we're in a recession. It's just not been named yet. So with that said, I really do believe the worst is almost here. But while that's happening, and the tough thing, there had been a period where you go, hey, my HELOC's a little more than my fixed rate, so I'll just do everything fixed. Well, fixed rates have went up quite a bit too. So that's where I would just say, hey, call them, go, here's where I'm at. Here's why I'm where I'm at. I'm trying to figure out how to make it work and see if there's something they can do to help you over the next 6 months to do it.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, because like I said in the video, is foreclosures, they cost banks a lot of money. That's not what they
Yeah.
want to do. And
That's
it's
what I've
usually,
heard.
yeah, lawyers are the ones that make out in those because they have to hire lawyers to go through the process. But with that said, they do not want foreclosures on their books. So anything you can do to communicate with them, I think it'll help you too. All right, so that's really it. Other than, Sarah, I was going to tell you, look at the debt reduction plan handout. I do think that was actually a really good one. It's an easy thing for you to put everything down if you don't have that already. And that'll kind of give you, don't let it depress you or anything like that, but it does. It at least puts everything down right in front of you where you can go, okay, here's where I'm at. Am I doing a good job? Even with your HELOC, it might even help you go, okay, what is the absolute most I can afford to make sure I'm paying that off, or what could a rate get to that's basically going to push me over the edge? And that'll be a good place to start with the lender to go, hey, here's what I'm doing, here's what I can afford, but I can't afford any more than this. And that at least gives you a good way to wrap your arms around that.
And somebody was telling me something, I don't remember what the term for it is, but where if you are paying towards the principal, it's almost like a tiered system where if you pay it to where the principal gets down to a certain amount, then it puts you in a different tier of, I don't know what it was called.
Yeah, I know. It just, again, I'm gonna guess what you're asking is, as you pay off more of your loan, more of it goes towards your principal, right? Because it's
Yeah.
a smaller balance. So the amortization schedule kind of,
That's what it was.
okay.
That's what it
That'll just basically show you when that starts to happen. And you can also, like, I pay everything electronically through Home Federal, who our loans with, and I can go there monthly and see how much went to principal, how much went towards, your insurances and stuff like that, and how much went to interest. So you can actually see, $500, 200 is going for principal and the bulk of it's going for, it just fluctuates. But as you get your loan value down, you're going to see more of that go towards the principal.
Perfect.
All right, Sarah, you basically had a one-on-one tonight. So,
Great. Thank you.
well, I appreciate how loyal you are to signing in and eager to learn. If you have any, I don't care what the question is or follow up, just shoot me an email and I'll be more than happy to help you out any way I can.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was helpful.
All right, Tammy.
All
I
right,
think
every day
we're
to
done.
see is good, so that was a bonus. Yes, thank you, Lee. And Robin, I'm sure you're there with Sarah.
So I think she's giving someone a bath right now.
Oh, that's so sweet. You can tell her said hey and see you later.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lee. It looks like our next will be August 15th. So
Okay.
hey,
Look forward to it. You guys be good.
thanks, you too.
All right, see you, gang.
Bye.